here is so massive, and we don't really have a representative school that represents this area.
I worked
Rutgers.
Rutgers games in 2015, and it's a good time out there at that stadium. But unfortunately, the team just hasn't been good since Schiano left. They had the chance to hire Les Miles. They should have. They didn't. But they got their man Schiano back, and you got to just have some faith in this guy that he's going to turn it around. And all it's going to take is for him to get one big recruit in there at maybe the QB or defensive edge rusher position, and they go pro, and then the recruits are going to come.
Yeah, I think that him having success here once before actually plays into his favor. Piscataway and where Rutgers is in Jersey is just a really nice area. And I think that the sell is the city. Like, do you want to be New York City's representative on the college football, landscape, right? So, obviously, you see all these big schools, right? So, it's like Penn State, Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Alabama, Florida, Clemson, right? Florida State, Louisiana State, right? Texas, Oklahoma. Like, you go to all those places, right? All those state schools are really, representative of the whole state. And a lot of people and a lot of students from those states usually stay within those states and get scholarships within those states, right? So, again, if you could stand out in a different way and say, New York needs a college football team, this could be our team. And, yes, they play in Jersey, right? But, again, you're representative of the whole area. And now, for years and years, Rutgers was in the old Big East, which you always love to bring up. You love the old Big East, right?
Yeah. Good stuff.
They play in the Big Ten. They do not play in a secondary non-Power 5 conference. They have the opportunity to play in a Power 5 conference, which means you play all those big schools, right? So if you raise the profile again and you become good again as a team representative in the Big Ten, you can eventually get back to that top 10 level where they were and possibly contend for a playoff. So we'll see. I love bringing him back. I think it was really great.
Speaking of bringing people back, the rumors now are that Steve Cohen, who is going to be the future owner of the Mets, wants to bring back Sandy Alderson in the executive role. I don't like that, Joe. I don't get that.
I also read a report that Cohen will clean house once he gets here.
Right. I don't think he's going to be able to do that this offseason, though, because there's just not going to be enough time by the time the November vote.
Right.
But I can see him clean house. Hopefully he doesn't touch the broadcasting crew of SNY, because we need Gary, Keith, and Ron. But if he's cleaning house and putting Sandy Alderson back in charge, that's a big problem, because Sandy Alderson's 2015 team was built by Omar Minaya, and all the good players on the current team are because of Omar Minaya's return. So you got to keep Omar Minaya. You can't clean him out of the house.
Yeah, well, with that, that means Brody would be gone, and Alderson would be back in, but not in the big boy's chair. He would be somewhat of an advisor, you could say. So, I mean, you could look at it one step back, 2 steps forward.
What do you think, Brian Cashman or Theo Epstein, Billy Beane going to be the GM?
Billy Beane would be super intriguing because it all depends on how he feels about moving into the bigger market. Right. And we saw this years ago with the Red Sox. Right, he turned down the Red Sox. He seems just very, very super comfortable there. But it's very, very intriguing to see what a mind like his would be with actual money to spend. How would he be drafting and developing players? And not only would he have the financial means to be able to retain those players once they actually reach the big league level, instead of trading them off like we see so often with the A's. Usually these guys stay 3-4 years, and then when they hit their prime years, 27, 28, 29, they have to trade them. We saw this all the way dating back to what the big three used to be, right? So from Zito, from Mulder, from Harden, from Harron, and then Harden, right on through. Obviously, a couple years ago, it was Sonny Gray. The Yankees went out to get him, right? So we know that the Athletics have this track record of having to always kind of have to cycle through everything and kind of always retool on the fly. Right. Billy Beane is such a great mind. What if he was given the opportunity to work for a developmental system that the Mets have, which is not bad. It's a good system. This team has...
Brody's been manipulating the draft the last 2 years. He's been getting top 10 talent in the second round because he's kind of just giving up the later picks, and he's going all in with the money. So Brody with the Mets, draft knows what he's doing because, you know why? Omar Minaya.
That's true. The Mets have always had a strong developmental system. Right. This is a team that consistently gets players through from low A to double A, all the way through to up until the major league level, right? They've never had a problem developing talent. It's the same way with the Yankees. Right. You know, people always knock, but they always develop talent.
On a team
imagine him being able to imagine, like we talked about this on a previous podcast, right? You said, you know, it's time to shell out the money and re-sign Conforto and lock in your core guys, right?
Right.
With Cohen now, right? That's not going to be a problem. Like, they're going to have the money to do it, right? So imagine bringing Beane in with his expertise, with his mind, you know, with his reputation. Imagine bringing a guy like that to add on to what they already have, and then having him pick out talent, developing that talent, and then being able to find more guys like Conforto in order to sign. You know,
speaking of like young talent, you think the Astros are going to maybe rebuild next year? Verlander's out. Greinke's going to be 37. Altuve, you know, they still got him. Bregman and is going to get a lot of money going toward because of the his service time. So that's going to go towards the luxury payroll. Springer's a free agent. Brantley's a free agent. Gurriel's a free agent. Reddick's a free agent. And then the following year, Correa and McCullers are free agents. Ozuna, he's probably going to get non-tendered. Yordan Alvarez, who was Rookie of the Year last year, he's coming off surgery in both knees. Who knows what's going to happen with the Astros moving forward? We saw them rip it down once before. I don't think they should rip it down again, but that's something to keep an eye on. Just, you know, with the way everything's going financially here with Major League Baseball due to the impacts of COVID-19.
Now, I do think they're going to retool though, simply because I think with the financial impact, it's going to be really hard to keep everybody. So I could see Altuve getting traded. Obviously, he makes a lot of money, so the deal would probably have to they would either probably have to eat some money or probably just take like a little less of a return.
Imagine he becomes a Yankee.
Well, we like DJ at that second base spot, but again, he's going to be pretty hard to retain too. So we'll see. But
DJ's going to look really good in the orange and blue next year.
I don't think they're going to be able to sign Brantley. I think Brantley is going to. I think he's going to finally get a multi-year deal. I don't know why he hasn't gotten.
I mean, when we get to free agency this year, if Cohen is in place early enough, it's going to be a lot of fun. But right now, I guess the focus, the attention is on the Stanley Cup playoff. I don't know. NHL didn't do a great job of marketing the first game. It was on a Saturday, and I totally missed it. I didn't even know the series started. But the Stars won, Joe, and coming into this, the favorites were, of course, the Tampa Bay Lightning, but everyone keeps doubting the Stars. I'm still doubting them, and they're up 1-0. How do you see this series playing out? Where are you putting your money?
Well, I thought that the Lightning were going to win in 6. So Dallas winning game 1 kind of throws everything into a loop a little bit, but I still think Tampa's the class here. I think they're the more talented team. I think Dallas...
It's the revenge of Ben Bishop.
Yeah, even though he's not playing. Right. And he hasn't been fit to play the whole playoffs. So
you can still bet on him to win the Conn Smythe. He's at plus 10,000.
Yeah, so right now, if you're going to bet on the Conn Smythe, there are 4 guys to do it. So we'll start with Dallas, right? Obviously, Ben Bishop's not playing, so Anton Khudobin's been playing, and he's been really, really good in the playoffs. He's probably been their best player, and the last couple of years we've seen goalies who really weren't the starter or the anointed starter from the start of the regular season, helping these teams, you know, move through the playoffs. So I think moving forward, a lot of teams are going to go with the 1A, 1B model as opposed to just paying outright for a goalie. So Hudobin's and Miro Heiskanen on Dallas, those are the 2 guys right now who, if you're looking to bet on for Conn Smythe voting, They present the best chance to win, the best value. And then for the Lightning, it's obviously their two best guys. It's Victor Hedman and it's Braden Point. And Victor Hedman has had the best playoff for a defenseman that we've seen in at least 5 years. The last guy who I remember was really the catalyst and probably the best player on his team that eventually ended up winning the Stanley Cup was Duncan Keith in 2015 with the Blackhawks. Ironically enough, Keith and the Blackhawks beat this Tampa Bay Lightning team in the Stanley Cup final, and he ended up scoring the game-winning goal on the rebound in Game 6 of the final. So we've seen that whenever Tampa Bay has gone down in the series, in the playoffs, whether they've gone down 1-0 in a game, I believe this is the first time. The second time they've gone down 1-0. Remember, they won down 1-0 against the Bruins, and they ended up winning 4 straight games like it was nothing, and they buzzsaw them right out of the playoffs. So Hedman has answered the call. To me, I mean, I don't know where you could find, Stanley Cup final prop bets. But if we're looking at Game 2 tonight, I expect the Lightning to bounce back, and don't be surprised if Victor Hedman scores a goal because he's had a knack for scoring big goals this entire playoffs. And usually when the Lightning rebound and Hedman scores, they win those games. So I think the Lightning will win tonight. I think they'll win something like 3-1. And I think my prediction is Hedman will score. So, and I still like Tampa to win the series.
Interesting. All right. I think it's going to come down to Stamkos. I think if he's back, it's going to put them over the top. It's been incredible to see that run without their best player. Interesting thing you told me was you said, I think Stamkos is going to be put up on the block for the Seattle Kraken to draft with their first overall pick. What do you think about that?
So what I think is going to happen is, Stamkos has a no-trade clause, I believe, or a no-movement clause. So when that happens, obviously the organization has to protect that player. But what I think is going to happen is the Lightning are going to ultimately move some type of other asset, whether it be like a second or third round draft pick, whether it be like a prospect. I think that after the way that this team played in the playoffs this year without Stamkos, it has Braden Point and it has Anthony Cirelli as their potential top 2 centers, going forward. Obviously, with the way that they made a run this year, that those 2 core guys are in place. They're younger, right? Stamkos is starting to get up there in age a little bit. He just turned 30 this year. So what I think ultimately is going to happen is Tampa Bay is kind of in a cap crunch. So they'll end up moving like Alex Killorn or Tyler Johnson in the offseason just to help navigate that a little bit. And then Stamkos will be traded to Seattle, kind of like what the Wild did and the Ducks did in the first expansion draft with Vegas, where they gave another asset in order to take this guy. So I think Stamkos will go to Seattle. He'll become one of the top players immediately for the Kraken. And another guy that I think will be traded to Seattle is TJ Oshie.
Wow.
Because he's from Mount Vernon, Washington, which is about, I think, a 45 to an hour minute drive north of Seattle. So he's from that area. That's his hometown. He's already won a Stanley Cup with the Washington Capitals. The Capitals are going to be faced with a cap crunch soon, too, because Ovechkin's going to need a new contract.
Well, he's a free agent this fall.
Right, he's going to need a new contract. They're going to need a little extra cap space. What I think is going to happen is the Capitals are going to trade TJ Oshie to Seattle, and then TJ Oshie will be named the first captain of the Kraken franchise.
All right, Joe's already he's thinking 2022 season here. Right? I mean, it's absolutely crazy.
Can we mention one more thing since we're doing little odds over here?
Yeah.
I just wanted to update everybody on where the NFL MVP the MVP betting stands after week 2. And the player with the highest with the best odds right now to win MVP is Russell Wilson at plus 300, and second is Patrick Mahomes at 450. Lamar Jackson is third at plus 650, and your guy Kyler Murray is fourth at plus 700.
Where's the love from my guy Josh Allen and my guy Aaron Rodgers? I mean,
they are both plus 1,200 right now with Dak Prescott. So
watch out for Josh Allen. That's all I'm going to say.
But Russell Wilson, my guy, threw 5 touchdowns last night against the Patriots, and he was flinging it all over the field. He looked really good.
He looked good. Kyler Murray looked good. Rodgers looked good. Josh Allen looked good. I mean, Josh Allen's the class of his QB class, no doubt about it. When you look at guys like Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, who we both think could be good, he's on the practice squad. Baker Mayfield hasn't been too good. So, Josh